Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. I'm Kabir Naqvi and you're watching. This is not the late night show. This is not the last week tonight. This is in your interest, safe to speak. You can watch this. This is not going to go off air. And that supposedly is our topic for today. United States, that moral high ground seems to be dissipating, it seems, and shockwaves in America's media landscape because Jimmy Kimmel, one of late night's loudest voices, suddenly silenced. Just days after comments critical of the MAGA movement and the politicization around Charlie Kirk's assassination. Let's start with the spark that ignited this firestorm. On his show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, host Jimmy Kimmel didn't hold back. Reacting to the tragic shooting of death of Charlie Kirk, Jimmy Kimmel accused Donald Trump's allies and the MAGA movement of exploiting the tragedy for political points. He implied the suspect's motives echoed far-right rhetoric, saying the MAGA movement is doing everything they can to score political points. And the backlash was swift and severe. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, a Trump appointee as US media regulator, condemned the remarks as incendiary. ABC, owned by Disney, faced mounting pressure from affiliates. Nexstar Media Group, owner of about over 200 local stations, threatened to preempt the show and ultimately dropped it, calling the comments offensive. Then you've got the Sinclair Broadcast Group, the largest local TV owner in the United States. He demanded an apology, and in a rare move for a major network, ABC announced the indefinite suspension of its flagship late-night program. Hollywood is erupting in outrage, with stars like Ben Stiller calling it overkill. He said Kimmel's a comedian, not a criminal, pulling his show over words, questions Ben Stiller. Florida Governor Gavin Newsom alleged that Donald Trump is weaponizing the FCC to silence dissent. But on the other side, President Trump and his supporters are cheering. Donald Trump posted another truth on social media, and I quote, "The radical left fake news media is getting the boot they deserve." Comedian Rob Schneider, he said, and I quote again, "Free speech doesn't mean you're free from all consequences." And in a show of solidarity from a fellow late-night show host, Stephen Colbert said, "We're in this together. CBS tried it with me. Won't let them win." Now, this isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a broader pattern under Donald Trump's regime. From 2017 to 2021, Trump branded outlets like CNN and the New York Times and the Washington Post as, quote-unquote, the enemy of the people in over 2,000 plus tweets. Fast forward to 2024, he sued the Des Moines Register and a pollster over an allegedly fraudulent poll and then slapped a $10 billion defamation suit on the Wall Street Journal. This year alone, in 2025, Donald Trump has filed $500 million worth of claims against AP, NPR, and PBS for biased coverage of his own policies. He threatened tech platforms under Section 230 after his Twitter ban, suing for about $100 million. And then in May, an executive order to cut funding to NPR and PBS, labeling them anti-American. And then in April, he ordered FCC probes into ABC and NBC licenses over alleged bias. Critics point to even darker trends: broadcast censorship through investigations into ABC and NBC for alleged incendiary content. Over 100 defamation suits against outlets like NYT, AP, and CNN since January. Expanded use of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act to target so-called domestic threats, including anti-Trump demonstrators, threats to revoke citizenship or passports for unapproved remarks, and the scrubbing of keywords on government websites related to climate change, gender, and equity. On X and on social media, reactions are polarized, from MAGA supporters celebrating Kimmel's cancellation as justice to liberals decrying it as hypocritical censorship. And as America prides itself on freedom of speech, can they truly preach it to the rest of the world, which they do without fail, when dissent seems under siege at home? Is it still the land of the free? Or is the freedom of speech just another punchline? We've got an informed panelist for you on the broadcast today, and big questions that we are trying to probe. Is Jimmy Kimmel a victim of censorship, or did he cross the line? Can America still preach to the world about free speech whilst gagging its own media back at home? With us on the broadcast, Ravinder Gadampalli, Vice Chair, Republican Party, Wake County, joining us live from Dallas. Many thanks for taking out the time. Ambassador Deepak Vora, former Indian diplomat. Many thanks, Ambassador. And Nirmal Ibrahim, columnist and US expert. Nirmal, always a pleasure to have you with us on News 9. Mr. Gadampalli, let me quickly start with you right at the forefront. Let's hear it from somebody who's, a vice chair with the Republican Party when it comes to the Wake County. Was Jimmy Kimmel's monologue truly, quote-unquote, hate speech? Or is this simply about protecting conservative sentiments from satire? President Trump congratulated ABC for silencing Jimmy Kimmel. What do you say? Is this leadership or is this censorship?
See, Kabir, other participants, good morning in India and good morning in America, good evening in India. Okay. Well, Kabir was talking a lot about President Trump activities, what have been appearing in the last 6 months or the inception of the government formed. Okay, it is not the matter of, shutting the mouth of the Jimmy Carroll or the left media, left-prone media. Okay, been seeing, what is happening in the political system, a political system deviated in right wing and left wing. In the left wing is trying to throw what their content on to rub on the people using their media. So okay, this is the time to control the right things onto the people. Not if America is always in the democracy country, in the freedom of speech, that is the First Amendment in the Constitution, and everybody has the right, to speech what they wanted. But it is not the facility. It is not providing the facility to throw what they wanted to be. One side, what happened about Charles Kirk. It is the left wing, left-leaned personality killed him. It was a tragedy day for the people of America and people of the world and people of the democracy. Democracy never taught anybody to kill the personality. Okay, non-violence is not the solution for anything in this world. But unfortunately, the tragedy incident happened. Comedian show. We're all accept, and we know it. Jimmy Carroll is a very good comedian, and he do a lot of comedian shows in the US, and everybody watches in the world. But not make the fun of the MAGA, and not make the fun of his death, fun of his assassination. Okay, he's trying.
How exactly did Jimmy Kimmel mock Charlie Kirk's death here? For a lot of people online and critical of Donald Trump's move, they say that this is a case of satire being punished. What exactly, according to you, did Jimmy Kimmel say or utter that made him cross that line where he started? In fact, he was talking about a particular press reaction by the US president right in the lawns of the White House, where he was asked a question about how he was coping up after Charlie Kirk's assassination. And he sort of derouted the entire answer towards how work is going on in the White House, and you can see all these construction trucks as well. And was Jimmy Kimmel wrong in asking questions on that front? Of course, it raised a few laughs, but what is it that you think he said that crossed that line?
See, definitely. See, FCC is there to watch. What is exactly going in the front stream media as well as the social media. Okay, so the way he was expressed, the Jimmy Kimmel is definitely wrong in the perception of the FCC.
How? What did he say, Mr. Gadampalli? I'm trying to understand. Can you quote him? Can you utter the same lines again? Can you help the viewers understand what did he say that made him cross the line and mock Charlie Kirk?
Right, he is trying to show that the person who killed is associated to the MAGA. Definitely, MAGA will not do these things. I'm also part of a MAGA. I'm an Asian MAGA guy. Okay, but I never do the violence in the country. You look at it, what happened way back when somebody was killed in the left side, and how they looted USA. Whereas the situation is happened in America, and every personality felt very bad about this tragedy incident. But nothing has happened in America, in the looting on the streets and looting on the stores. Nothing has happened. That kind of sincerity, that is kind of discipline is there in the right wing. Whereas the left wing tried to loot the system. They wanted to say that, the guy, who this assassination incident, they wanted to push that these are all associated with the MAGA. Unfortunately, and also he said, he is insulted our president in such a way that in a goldfish celebration. That is not the way to do it. As a media guy, Jimmy Kimmel is a prominent personality whose voice can go to the whole world, and he's trying to, make fun of the, president's speech. President
Okay,
is
okay.
elected.
Mr. Gadampally, we heard your points, we heard your opening comments. Ambassador Vora, if Donald Trump, and this is what, MAGA supporters are saying, is he's defending free speech for the conservatives. If Donald Trump is defending free speech for the conservatives, does that mean that comedians and people, critics like, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, they don't deserve the same rights? I mean, did you get a chance to look at that statement? Did you see that portion of Jimmy Kimmel? A lot of social media handles on the internet have saved that portion. They have put it out again. Did you get a chance to listen to what he actually said, and where do you stand on this particular topic? What's your opinion on this front?
Well, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be with you, and good evening, good morning to our colleague in the United States who wished us good evening. There's been a lot of talk about freedom of speech, and there's also been a lot of speech on freedom in the social media handles that I've been looking at. The issue, sir, you're a media personality, you are outstanding in every which way. How do you decide when you are broadcasting or telecasting? How do you decide what the line is that you should not go beyond? Is it for the government to tell you that don't do this? Is it for me to tell you don't do this? I've been an anchor myself on Doordarshan, as you know, probably for longer than you have been on this planet. We had what we call not censorship, self-evaluation. Where do you stop? And did people find out, did this person who has been silenced, if that's the right word, did he exercise any kind of self-control or self-evaluation? You do it all the time. So where does criticism of a government or of an individual become abuse of that individual or of a movement or of an organization? What is MAGA? MAGA is an idea. MAGA is not a political party. It's a concept that he wants to make America great again. Wow, great, do it. My prime minister wants to make India great again. What's wrong with that? But when you mock a concept...
Make it India. Yeah.
Sorry?
Example, make in India.
Well, there you are. When you start mocking a concept, an idea, then you hurt a lot of sentiments. Because I personally, I don't know if you can see it here, it says I'm a nationalist on my jacket. Now, I love this idea of make in India. But when it becomes something, sir, that you hurt a concept, an idea, a movement, then I believe that some kind of self-evaluation would be required. So I'm not being critical of anybody, neither of the government nor of this person. But the important thing is, for the United States, that preaches to the whole world about the importance of free speech and so on, for them to also exercise a certain amount of control, if I may use that word. Control is not a nice word. Certain amount of self-restraint, if that is the right word. I can't find the right word. My English is not that good. I would say that whatever has happened to this person, hopefully it will be temporary and it will be rescinded. And thereafter, others should also refrain from hurting the feelings, the concept, the excitement of a large section of the American population, those who support Donald Trump. You know, his popularity rating and so on, that is irrelevant in this context. What he is trying to do is his idea of restoring America's greatness. You may agree with him, you may disagree with him, but that's the idea. You can't disagree with the concept, sir. Nobody can doubt his love for his country. That's all that I have to say.
Okay, all right, man. Thanks for your opening comments here, Ambassador. Nirmal, before I come to you, okay, if you allow me, I'm going to play out that reaction, the Donald Trump, bite that Jimmy Kimmel also broadcast on his show, and then he uttered that joke which led to his show being dropped and put off air. Let's listen into what Donald Trump was asked and what his answer was.
President, my condolences to you, sir. My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty. It'll be an absolutely magnificent structure.
Now, I may not be privy or, an expert on U.S. politics right now, but from a basic understanding, he was asked about how he's doing after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and he's talking about the ballroom. And if Jimmy Kimmel does, sort of like take some sort of help from satire here, and I've seen it time and again. Does that mean SNL is going to go off air because they do some drastic jokes on the US president? And I mean, I'm a great fan of their show. I don't know whether that's going to go off air or not. But Nirmal, Democrats argue that this is a direct attack on the First Amendment. Does the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel and then earlier Stephen Colbert as well, who's already put out that tweet in support of Jimmy Kimmel, says we're in this together, we won't let them win. Does this indicate beginning of a state-controlled media in the US? Already Mr. Brendan Carr is there. Is there a pattern at play? Help the viewers back at home in India understand what's really at play over there.
Well, I personally do not support or endorse the cancellation of anyone, no matter what. But because you mentioned state-owned media or state-controlled media, let me just tell you that it hasn't begun just now. It began. It started way long back, and I can give you examples because you just mentioned will they get rid of SNL? Can you name one conservative talk show host, a late night host that is popular in the United States? There is nobody. Okay, we have Jimmy Kimmel, he's under fire. Stephen Colbert is under fire. So will be Seth Meyers. So is Jimmy Fallon. So is Jon Stewart. All of these people who do late night shows are unfortunately left-leaning. All of the outlets that run these shows are also left-leaning. So it is. I don't think it's right to say that the state or Trump, as a matter of fact, owns these media outlets. So the reason I do not have an issue with this one specifically is because Jimmy Kimmel and the left, the people on the left, are upset that he was cancelled. And some people, you mentioned Ben Stiller saying he's a comedian, not a criminal. Then why weren't the same set of people not upset when Steven Crowder, a right-wing conservative comedian, was demonetized? He still is demonetized on YouTube. He runs a show, gets no money out of it. Candace Owens, a black political commentator, was cancelled. They didn't have an issue. Marsha Blackburn, a black senator, put out a video for pro-life on Twitter. It was taken away. Nobody had an issue. The president himself was taken out of Twitter while the Taliban heads remained. Nobody had an issue. So I could give you, thousands of examples where conservatives and people on the right were axed, cancelled, taken out provisionally, permanently, and even accidentally, and nobody questioned that. All of a sudden now, because a person that has been taken out and he's on the left, people and, all of these things happen and we did not even have a conversation. Today we're having a conversation because the person is on the left and the voices that are heard are also on the left. And also, but I side with you on one thing. On the specific video that you showed, I found that part funny where Jimmy Kimmel said that's not how you mourn someone. It's true, because what Charlie Kirk has done for Donald Trump, that is not how he should have responded. But with that, there is a clip that you may have omitted, not on purpose, where he says that it is someone on the right that actually did it, which has been proven wrong, at least from the evidence that we have now. So I think it was wrong to say that. And it isn't the only thing that Jimmy Kimmel has been saying. He's been out there for the last 7-8 years. He's been making comments like Trump supporters. So, for example, during COVID, he said Trump supporters should not be given hospital beds. Why? Because they are not willing to vaccinate. Do not give them beds. Do not admit them to hospitals. That's what he said. When Tesla cars were put on fire and blown up in the streets, which also harmed people, he made fun of him and mocked those incidents. So maybe it is a culmination of everything. But as the ambassador said, I don't think this is the end. I'll give you one example. Tucker Carlson on the right was cancelled because he questioned woke politics. But now he has a show called the Tucker Carlson Network, which is running more successfully than even his show on Fox News. He even interviewed Vladimir Putin, of all people. So it's not the end of the road for Jimmy Kimmel. This is also temporary. We don't know whether he'll come back or not. Even if he doesn't come back, I'm pretty sure that ABC will come back with a late night show with maybe a younger version of Jimmy Kimmel, a different person, but with the same political leaning. So, yeah, I mean, do I have sympathy for him? Yes. But do I think it's fair? I do think so, because on the right, we saw many instances. Nobody mourned, nobody was upset. Now all of a sudden people are upset. I don't find it fair in that sense.
Pertinent points that you've raised over here, Nirmal. Completely, thrown the peg of the show a little bit, awry. But an incredible point that you've made over there. Mr. Gadampalli, let me come back to you. Again, focusing on Donald Trump, who's campaigned, in the run-up to the presidential elections as a free speech warrior, yet his administration cracking down on dissent. Several examples that have been put out as well, barring the left-right example at this point in time. How do you explain this contradiction by Donald Trump? He's been a free speech warrior for the longest time, and now back-to-back clamp down on dissent.
So you mean to say that, I mean, your question is the free to speech in the in US?
Yeah, I'm talking about freedom of speech. The United States president has
See,
been a free speech warrior.
nobody will take out the freedom of speech in this country. So there is, I mean, as I mean, Ora said, there should be a line in the frontline media as well as the social media. Okay, as long as they are maintaining it, they are maintaining on the line. There is no question about take out your freedom of speech. Okay, it is not it is the constitution. Everybody has the freedom of speech. See, I'm the first generation of American. Okay, so I came from India and I can able to talk what is the best for the country, what is the best for the community. Nobody stopped me. I mean, I talked against the left media. I talked against left-leaned people. And as far as my line is proper, nobody can stop you. If you are crossing the limits of your lines, then definitely there should be a control over the body. There is a constitutional provided a chairman is there. They will definitely monitor what the content is the broadcasting, what is the content is telecasted over the media. There should be a control over it, because I mean most of the media people in the US, I mean I can say that ABC is a left-leaned media. Okay, left-leaned media is always trying to rub what their intention is there in a mind. Should be controlled. FCC should control over them. And Donald Trump definitely take a measurement to make the proper content should reach the American people.
Okay. Actually, Ambassador Vora said that who actually decides that red line. If I'm not wrong, Ambassador, that's exactly what you were trying to say, that who draws and decides on that red line. There's the aspect of self-evolution that comes into play over here. But, let's talk about how India has faced criticism for curbs under UAPA, the IT rules, and especially coming from various reports from the United States. Now, can America credibly speak at the United Nations, Ambassador Vora? Bilateral dialogues about freedom of expression when something like this happens on their own soil. The US has often lectured India on freedom press, raids, arrests, internet shutdowns. There have been massive reports. Does this Kimmel episode now weaken that stand?
Nobody has accused America of starving its people or of denying them fuel for their cars. America has been accused of hypocrisy and is accused all the time. What they preach is not what they practice. This is very, very clear. And also, we were taught in school that when you point a finger at someone, remember there are three pointing back at you. I think that's something that the US establishment, the US system should understand. It's very easy to criticize someone, but jab apne pe aati hai, as we say in Hindi, then it becomes a different ball game. So you're absolutely right. There is an element of hypocrisy in this, all the pontification, not just to Bharat, but to every country, up to China, to this fellow, to that fellow. You guys are not doing, and yet we go and hop into bed with them and do all kinds of funny. Do you recall, we have a neighbor, sir, which is the epicenter of terrorism, how they used to blast that country saying, it's the worst country in the world, the least safe country, etc., etc. Now you hop into bed with fellows who actually promote jihadism. So there is an element of hypocrisy in every action that is taken. Being the United States, being a great country, a great power, everything they do is under enhanced scrutiny. And therefore, I just hope that they'll be very, very careful in what they say. I just saw a report, I don't know if it's true, about 80% of the stuff that comes out on the social media is fake news. I don't know if this figure is correct. Sounds exaggerated to me. 80% is AI generated.
Did this report suddenly, was furnished on social media itself? Did it come on social media?
Come again?
Did the report come out on social media?
Yeah, the report came out on social media. So there's social media saying, I'm lying. And whether it's AI or not, I have no idea. But nevertheless, I think this is a very useful discussion. The only thing, sir, to our two friends who are in the United States, take it easy in pointing fingers at others. We don't like it. You don't like it when we point fingers at you. We don't like it when you point fingers at us. Maybe this should be toned down a little bit in your, not a little bit, a lot in your criticism of others, because then you offend people.
Yep.
You don't make friends.
Mr. Nirmal, let me come to you for the final, question. You've made a massive and a great point talking about all these left-leaning anchors backed by left-leaning institutions, and which is why you have left-leaning late-night shows. Nobody batting an eyelid for Carlson Tucker and the comedian that you pointed out in your earlier reference and answer. But, help the viewers understand, what does the Kimmel case tell us about these overlapping, layers? You've got politics, business interests, and then media regulation at play over here. Now, one can't really say that the entire MAGA support or the politics around the MAGA support in the midterms right around the corner, Charlie Kirk's assassination, all of that, it's not happening in their own silos. It is somewhere related, isn't it? Which is why people are talking about it. Now, does this tell us about the growing overlap between politics, the business, and the media regulations? What's really at play?
Well, as far as media regulation is concerned, from what I've understood, what the FCC has done here is sort of threatened ABC, which I don't support. I also don't support what Jimmy Kimmel has been doing over the years, but I don't think that is the right thing to do under Trump. With the midterms in play, I also believe that the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the after effects of it and the conversation that we are having right now, including the cancellation, all of this might translate to votes. Now, the cancellation of both Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel was, I would say, easier for the left because their contracts were expiring in a few months. April 2026 for Jimmy Kimmel, and May 2026 for Stephen Colbert. So it was already called off. These shows were already announced that they were going to end the contract. So I don't think if it was a large decision for them to make. But as far as midterms are concerned, the assassination, now the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel, all of these might translate into votes. But we'll have to wait and see how things will transpire because we have little time left. Yeah.
Well, let's wait and find out. Mr. Gadampalli, Ambassador Vora, and Nirmal, always a pleasure to have you with us on News 9. The world watches on. The big question certainly remains, is Kimmel the latest victim of political censorship, or did he really cross a line? And can America still hold itself up as the global guardian of free speech when its own voices are being silenced at home? It does require a larger discussion, but we'll leave it at that for the time being. Many thanks to my panelists, and many thanks for watching in your interest. That's all the time we have for you. Top developments right on the other side.
कहना चाह रहा था कि प्रोमिनेंस नहीं है।
प्रोमिनेंस मतलब
प्रोमिनेंस विंडोज, इसमें है हाईएस्ट वेदर रेजिस्टेंस और घर को रखे सेफ फ्रॉम टर्माइट, सीपेज, डस्ट एंड नॉइस। वुडन फिनिश से लेके कंटेम्परेरी कलर्स तक। प्रोमिनेंस फॉर द वर्ल्ड यू डिजर्व।
Elegant styling meets adrenaline pumping performance. Drive a world of sporty sophistication with the all-electric VF7 from VinFast. India price starting at rupees 20.89 lakhs.
Chandigarh, Coimbatore, NCR and Bangalore, Jaipur, Ahmedabad, Raipur and Hyderabad. We've been here, we've been there. Veka's been just everywhere.
Love is nothing without the thrill. Unlimit love. The B6 Pack 2 starts at 21.9 lakh. Mahindra Electric Origin SUVs.
Mumbai, brace yourself. The GOAT Albatross satire is back. Cyrus Roja. From politics to pop culture, from your WhatsApp forwards to breaking news, nothing and no one is safe.
Relax, guys, relax. I only roast the truth, and the truth is always hilarious. Too much pressure.
Get ready for news caustic, bold, sharp, unfiltered, 100% Cyrus.